So it turns out Donald Trump was right all along about Barack Obama, the deep state, and all that they tried to do to disrupt Donald Trump's 2016 campaign. And all that they tried to do to disrupt Donald Trump's first administration. You guys have got to check this out.
Follows next are criminal referrals. Obamagate is finally coming to light, and it's probably what the media should be focused on, instead of this obsession to twist the Epstein files into some partisan narrative to attack Donald Trump and the GOP at large. You know, there's a whole lot of talk, a whole lot of blah blah when it comes to the Epstein issue, but as of right now, we have no incriminating evidence. We have nothing to even run on. It's all speculation and old rehashed news. But this is what a real scandal looks like. Things are about to get real interesting. Let me show you guys what's going on. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so the official statement from Tulsi Gabbard is crystal clear. Tulsi reveals that there's overwhelming evidence that Barack Obama, along with his top cabinet officials, knowingly used falsified and politicized intelligence to target Trump. It seems after their devastating 2016 loss, the endgame was simple: reverse the outcome of the 2016 election. Before Donald Trump even took office, the intel community had already agreed that Russia lacked the intent or capability to hack or alter the outcome of the election, despite all the talks of Russian interference and these claims that Vladimir Putin and the Kremlin put Donald Trump in the office during the 2016 election.
I mean, if you're going to let Russia get away with what they did and are still doing, according to Christopher Wray, the current FBI director who said that last week, they're in our election systems. We're worried about 2020, he said. So, hey, let's have a great power contest, and let's get the Chinese in on the side of somebody else.
Are you worried that Putin could be attempting, and the Kremlin could be attempting to intervene in our election in 2024? And should we all be spending more time talking about that?
I am very concerned about it. It wouldn't be the first time that Russia's intervened in our election.
No.
It wouldn't be the first time they've done it to try to help elect Donald Trump. And they have so much more at stake today than they did back in 2016. With the war going on in Ukraine, with NATO enlarging around it, they feel beleaguered. And here comes Donald Trump, a real lifeline. They have more at stake now than they did before. They have less risk aversion than they did before. So, yes, we should fully expect them to engage. It's just a question of how much they engage.
So who benefits from it? Donald Trump. Who benefits from Donald Trump? Putin. There's, in my view, a connection there.
Putin has said time and time again, Donald Trump is harder on us than any president in the history of America. Donald Trump is one tough son of a gun, but I respect him because he stands up for America and American values. He says what he says, and he does whatever it takes to back up his word and his promise to the American people, as opposed to these people who operate in the shadows under Joe Biden, and they implement policy that doesn't align with the will of the people. But they were talking about these Russia interference in our 2016 elections as recently as 2024. They were saying, oh, Russia did it last time, we can't let them do it again. And they were saying this with absolutely zero proof that Russia was involved whatsoever. In fact, it was proven years ago under a special counsel investigation that Russia had nothing to do with it, yet they still parrot these lies, and half of America buys it up because they're willing to lie on national television and just deceive Americans. These politicians absolutely have no shame and just have so much hatred for Donald Trump that they have no problem lying to Americans if it means it makes Donald Trump look bad.
Non-stop, from morning till night across all the leftist networks, and all of this was predicated on supposed intelligence. But now on August 31st, 2016, a DHS official told DNI Clapper, quote, "There is no threat. The thrust of the analysis is that there is no indication of Russia intent to directly manipulate the actual vote count." And you know what? That probably should have been the end of it. But of course, never let the facts get in the way of a good political narrative and hit job, or in this case, attempted shadow coup. That should have been the end of it, but instead on December 8th, just a little bit after Donald Trump's win, that intelligence was buried. It was pulled from the president's brief. And I wonder why that is. Well, probably because it contradicted the narrative that they were already preparing to unleash. Then on December 9th, Obama's White House calls an emergency National Security Council meeting. Top names in the room, that's James Clapper, John Brennan, Susan Rice, Loretta Lynch, Avril Haines, Andrew McCabe, and of course Obama himself. I mean, the coup comrades, let's call them. They had a meeting discussing what they were going to do, and the end result was a secret meeting to greenlight what would become the Russia hoax. The lie that Donald Trump won only because Vladimir Putin helped him. And actually, Vladimir Putin had dirt on Donald Trump, and he was a Manchurian candidate. One day after the meeting, intelligence community officials began crafting, quote, a new intelligence assessment, per the president's request, to claim Russian election interference. And of course, this brand new assessment they pulled right out of their frickin' asses, because said assessment had no new data, no proof, no justification, no just narrative engineering. They just made it up, just like the Hunter Biden letter. And then, of course, the operation goes into overdrive. That same week, anonymous intelligence officials start leaking to the Washington Post and NBC that, quote, Putin was personally involved. The CIA concludes that Russia helped Trump. High confidence that Trump benefited. Then, of course, they sent their cronies like Adam Schiff to tell the American people during primetime news shows that there was, quote, more than circumstantial evidence that Donald Trump was working for the Russians. The whole frickin' thing, the whole Russia hoax was exactly that. It was a hoax. It was a partisan Democrat narrative meant to destroy Donald Trump's presidency. It was a deep state disinformation campaign. The real intelligence said that Russia didn't hack the election, but the truth was suppressed, deleted, and then overwritten with the Democrat fantasy, the Democrat fiction, which, as we're learning now, was designed and distributed from inside the White House during the end of Obama's second term. And now, well, we have all the evidence. Tulsi Gabbard posted all the unclassified documents herself, and those documents show the original draft from December 8th that stated outright that Russian and criminal actors did not impact recent US election results by conducting malicious cyber activities. Yeah, obviously, this MAGA movement has been grassroots since the start, and the idea that 3,000 Russian bots overturned the election as if this was proof that Donald Trump was a traitor and working for Vladimir Putin, it was bogus from the start, and they knew it.
And the thing is, this narrative was not just limited to the mainstream media news networks. This was also in pop culture and in entertainment. In fact, I remember watching the show Homeland. It's a show about the CIA and the inner workings of the federal government and all this and that and the other. And this was the big storyline in that season. I believe it came out in 2017. It was saying how Russia completely manipulates our election systems, and they have bot accounts that can rig any election. And if you actually follow the breadcrumbs, there's proof that one of the presidential candidates wanted to overthrow the United States government and overturn the will of the people, and they're willing to assassinate a president-elect. But that right there just goes to show they're willing to infiltrate Hollywood, Netflix, Hulu, any streaming platform. You watch a new show, they're always trying to program your mind. It could be the most small, minute thing, but they're always trying to make you seem like you don't know what you're talking about. Meanwhile, you're just following the facts. They were saying that this was a conspiracy theory for years. But guess what? As the years go on, the conspiracy theorists get proven right, and the deniers get proven wrong time and time again.
Weaponized assessment to just falsely claim the opposite. My friends, this was coordinated sedition. And it's no longer a theory, it's no longer speculation, it's now documented fact. The White House, in collusion with top intelligence leaders and media allies, orchestrated a deliberate, multi-year operation to undermine and sabotage President Trump during his first term. In other words, the Democrats that are constantly lecturing you about democracy, they tried to nullify your vote. It's time to take it to the next level, folks. No more playing games, no more kids' gloves. Every name involved here needs to be hauled in. Brennan, Clapper, McCabe, Rice, Obama, no exceptions. The same people who screamed about insurrection for the last 5 years, ironically, ran a literal insurrection from inside the White House in 2016. And the sick irony is that they called you traitors. They said that you were a threat to democracy. Meanwhile, they were behind the scenes abusing their power and connections to manufacture false evidence. They lied to the public, they weaponized the government to subvert the will of the people. I mean, look, call me crazy, but after learning about this on top of everything else that we've learned over the last 8 years, the evidence that we have tying the Steele dossier directly to Hillary Clinton's campaign and everything else, these people belong in prison.
I find it so ironic that the director of national intelligence for Donald Trump is Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard in 2016 was the head of the Democratic National Committee. But you know what? She wasn't a brainwashed Democrat who was just going to follow her orders and do whatever Obama or Clinton said. She had a mind of her own, and she could stand up for what's right. I would reckon 99% of Democrats in her shoes right now would not release this information to the public. Tulsi Gabbard might be the best pick in Donald Trump's administration because she actually does what she believes is right. No matter if it's going to offend Donald Trump, if it's going to offend Obama, she's standing up for the will of the people, the Constitution, the everyday Americans. That's what you want in your administration. You don't want a bunch of yes men, because look at the facts right here. Every single one of these people, Clapper, Brennan, Comey, all of them committed treason against the American people, and none of them have been held accountable. So if I was Tulsi Gabbard, I would have released every bit of information about the treason that they tried to commit and let the American people decide. Enough people are going to get upset and say, well, you know what? Why is Obama allowed to do this and not be held accountable for his actions? This is insane. And then soon enough, the hammer of justice will fall. Barack Obama knows what he did was wrong, and he knows he committed some of the highest crimes that you could possibly commit. So I really do believe that he needs to have his day in court. He needs to answer for his actions, because trying to undermine the will of the people and overthrow an upcoming administration before it even starts is probably as bad a crime as it could possibly get. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this down below. Who do you think was the mastermind of trying to undermine Donald Trump's administration? You think it was Obama? You think it was Comey, Brennan? Let me know who you think. And if you enjoyed, make sure to smash that like, comment, subscribe, and wish you guys nothing but the best. Until next time.